testimonials. So just not to waste our time, right? I would like to, move straight to, introducing our guest, Adejoju Ajani. Adejoju Ajani. She's actually, a data analyst, not just a data analyst. She leads data analytics and data engineering department. So in this data world, I know that data analytics and data engineering are two different things. But it means that for Adejoju to be able to handle this kind of role, she's so grounded, in data analytics. And definitely everybody knows Interswitch Group, right? So Adejoju, we are so happy to have you on this call today. And we're looking forward to learning and tapping from your wealth of experience. My check, Adejoju, are you on the call?
Yeah, I'm here. Hi. Good afternoon,
Hi.
everyone. Good afternoon, Joseph.
Good afternoon.
Me.
Yeah, thank you very much for honoring our.
Can you
Yes,
hear me?
yes, I can hear you clearly.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay, that's fine.
Thank you very much for honoring our invitation. You're as beautiful as you look in the, on social media too. All right.
Thank you.
So, yeah, you're welcome. So, guys, I'll just quickly, move into the panel session because that's the essence of this session. Getting lots of information from, Adejoju, and I say you should count yourself very lucky to be on this session today, right? If you need to pick a pen and a paper, so that you don't forget, wonderful tips that you get today, please do so now, so that you won't miss out. And if you feel that there's somebody that should be on this call today, right now, share the link with them. Share that link with them. Let them join this session right away, right? So Adejoju, I'll just quickly, firstly, would like to meet you. Just shortly introduce yourself and tell us what you do. Yeah.
Okay, thank you, Joseph, for that very generous introduction, right? I think every opportunity I have to share with people, I count it as an honor, to be honest. So I am the one that is actually really honored to be here talking with everyone today. My name is Adejoju, as Joseph has rightly said. I head the data analytics team and engineering team in Interswitch. I'm female. What else? I think that's about it. Yeah, so I've been at it for quite a while. I've been working in this field for close to 10 years now. So it's been quite an interesting journey. I think that's about it.
Well, that's really cool. 10 to 12 years, Now you actually started like you're an OG in this game already, right? All right. Okay, so
Yeah.
For that, we'd actually want to, have a follow-up question to how you introduced yourself, right? And that question is, can you just briefly tell us how you got into data analytics and engineering?
Okay, thank you. So to be honest, I started out like the average Nigerian person. I studied computer science, actually. I studied computer science. I remember when I was in school, when I was in university for my first degree, I realized that when we started doing things around, there was a course, I think it was database languages or something like that. When we learned about that, it sparked a lot of interest in me, and I was really curious. But you know how a lot of Nigerian universities don't really go in depth, in teaching some of these concepts. So anyways, cut long story short, I studied computer science. I was posted to one of the foremost banks in Nigeria for my NYSC. And I would say that's sort of like how the journey started. So I was placed I worked in the technology team. I don't know if it was God or providence. I was placed I was rightly placed based on what I had studied. Most people, even if you study computer science, they can just throw you into bank and teller or banking all activities. But I was lucky to have been placed in technology based on my qualification then. So I started off there, and I literally was working in a team that we refer to then as e-business support. So it was my first introduction to ATMs and transactions, fintech generally. So apart from my computer science background, I started learning and working with real life data, where I was responsible for when you had dispense errors on your ATMs. I was the one that would do that analysis and give the authorization for the people in the bank to credit you back, all of those things. So I was having to learn how to query a database. All of these things were fairly new to me, because how I had a lot of theoretical knowledge and I didn't have a lot of practical experience. So that was like my first introduction, to be honest. And it sparked an interest in me. So I was doing a role, I was like supporting e-business activities. I was also responsible for configuring ATMs. So when you get the physical ATMs, I was responsible for actually installing the application and making things work and all that. So all of those things exposed me to a lot of data. And I got really interested I like the fact that I do things that actually solve real life problems. So a market woman was trying to, pay for something, and then she couldn't pay because the ATM did not give her information, and she's crying, and I'm able to provide the solution to that. So I felt like it stemmed from that interest of actually solving real life problems. So I got really curious and I wanted to know more. That was like my first introduction to data at all. And that's how I started my journey. Went on to move on to oil and gas, and then I went to my master's, but the curiosity actually started from my work in the bank. That's how it started. Yeah.
Oh, this is really interesting. And I would definitely say that bank actually generates a lot of data, and
Yeah.
that would have really given you a lot of exposure to further improve your skills. Okay, great. Thank you very much for sharing that with us. So I'll just quickly, you answered one of the questions I was supposed to ask, right? What made you choose data analytics, which is very, very cool. So I have another question for you, because some people on this call will be wondering, oh, what's the normal work day for a data analyst? What does it look like when you come to the office in the day, and what do you do? Yeah.
Okay. Is that the next question you want me to answer?
Yes.
So what it looks like in the life of a data analyst. So like you said, so I oversee everything actually. So we have data engineers, we have data engineering is being done, data science work is being done, data analytics is also being done. But I'll speak to the data analytics aspect of things. So typically, a typical day will be that, there's a business question, or there's a value you are trying to bring to a customer, or there's an application that wants to go live. So different things. And then we want to either answer existing questions, like, okay, for example, there's a policy that went out recently that sort of rocked the entire fintech industry in Nigeria, where there's the cash, in fact, two policies. There's the, what's it called now? Cashless policy, and then there's the new Naira notes. So two policies were rolled out back to back, which sort of created like a ripple effect across a lot of the banks and the fintech industry generally. That created a lot of volumes for online payments and anybody working in that space. So I just want to create a scenario. So in that light, for example, a day-to-day would be that, there's a question we're trying to answer. So people are using POSs more. They want to know, what POS provider, POS merchants, are using, as the highest volume, what's the demographic? Also, because I work in a switching company, we are responsible for switching transactions. When there are failures and all of that, it will be a case of, we want to know where the failures, is it between us, is it at our end, is it on our platform or on the bank's platform, all those kind of information. And this involves typically then going into a data warehouse. So as a data analyst, you should have the ability to then connect to a data source. In this case, I would say a data warehouse or a data lake, and then getting the requisite data. For example, in this case, POS transactions. The metrics to call out POS transactions will have been discussed, with the SMEs. So you go into the data, you can do what we call an exploratory data analysis, just to even get a sense of what is happening. And then based on the business questions, so people, there are more volumes on the platforms generally. We want to know where these volumes are coming from, what time of the day, different things. And then that will help decision makers to make, okay, if we need to scale out our infrastructure, based on all of this information. So that's a typical day in the life of a data analyst. Yeah, constantly connecting to data sources analyzing that data based on metrics, either the ones that you have been pre-given or the ones that you have to come up with yourself by just exploring the data, then presenting it for the people that will use the data. So it can be operational people, so you present it in a way that operational people can relate to it. It can be senior management, you also present it in a way that senior management can relate to it. So it can be in form of a report or a dashboard, and all of that. And then also being able to communicate, explain what you have done, so that you tell a good story of what you can find in data. So that would be like the summarized version of what a data analyst would typically do on a daily basis.
All right. Thank you very much for that the way you answered that question. That's very practical. Okay, so what I can see here is a data analyst work on organizations' data, inform intelligent business decisions, right? To see where problems are, the kind of decisions that can be made. Yeah. So thank you very much for that, Adejoju. So I'm very, very curious right now, right? You lead a team of data analysts, data engineers, and data scientists, right? Could you just tell us the difference between data analytics, data science, and data engineering?
Okay, I get this question a lot. Okay, so look at this. Look at the old data ecosystem. Let's look at it as an ecosystem. So what do we want to? We want to gain insight. In some cases, we want to gain foresight, right? I'll give you the simple answer, and then I'll try and explain each. So a data, like I just said now, a data analyst typically is responsible for sort of answering existing questions. So you want to get insight, you want to get closer to the data, and then extract the information that can help the business. That is typically the work of a data analyst, and it involves you connecting to data sources, using basic tools, understanding structure query language. I said that because a lot of data is on RDBMS these days. So at least the foundation, you have to be able to use SQL. However, a data scientist sort of like takes the work of a data analyst further, in the sense that when we say a data analyst, is trying to sort of get insight from the data, a data scientist, on the other hand, is responsible for sort of like bringing out foresight. So in that case, they use more sophisticated tools to then say, okay, let's spend more time on this data that we have. So where a data analyst is trying to say, we want to know what happened, like in the last 2 weeks or in the last 10 weeks, if a data scientist will be responsible for saying, okay, let me perform, they create what we call scientific models and then apply algorithms. Some of these algorithms are already existing ones that they can just apply, and they spend time understanding the data, understanding the features in the data, and then sort of like wrangle everything and try to use it to say, okay, in the nearest future, or if we do this and this is what is possibly going to happen. I'm just trying to keep it in lay terms and not say a lot of technical things, right? Yeah, so when I say a data analyst is responsible for getting insight from the data, a data scientist goes further to get foresight from the data. That's like the simplest way to put it. However, a data engineer, in the light of all of this, is like the starting point, actually. So a data engineer is responsible for actually going to collect the data that is needed, right? So a data engineer is the one that is responsible for getting the data, whether it's on social media, whatever it is, text, file, video, whatever form of video, whatever form of data you want to analyze. Data engineers are responsible for collecting the data and putting it on an infrastructure and make it available for data analysts to then connect to and then draw in their insights. And also for data scientists to connect to and then draw out their foresights. So that's sort of like how everybody, just in lay terms, that's how everybody connects.
All right.
Summary.
Yeah, thank you very much, Adejoju. I really understand that now. I'm sure every other person on this call, I know, got the difference between those three, aspects of the data ecosystem, right? So quickly, I would just like to, ask some of the skills, that a data analyst, require to fit into, to being a data analyst, to get a data analyst role. Yeah, the skills.
Okay, all right, thank you. So I will talk about that on the assumption that the person has no prior knowledge, has no prior training, right?
Yes.
Okay, I always say this. So I see a lot of people, young people, they want to come into data analytics. I always say that that's a good entry point into the data ecosystem. It's like the most relatable entry point for most people. It's not the easiest, but it's not also the toughest. However, it's important to start simple and start gradually. I always say the first thing that you need to do is sort of have like a lean roadmap, like an approach of how you want to, and start as a data analytics. So you can decide to go to a university, for example, and say, I want to study data analytics as a course, or do an online course, register for an online course. But all these dynamics will depend on the time you have available to learn, how you learn, and also money is involved as well. So if you want to go to a university, maybe go for a master's or something, you have to spend some money. You also have to allow for some time, maybe a year or 2 years and all of that. So all those dynamics, so there are different approaches. I say that I did a master's, but not until after I've worked with data a lot before I actually eventually decided to go for a master's, just to broaden my knowledge. So I always say that actually working with data is the best approach, the best starting point. And I say that because it allows you start small. So let me give an example. So if I wake up today and I have no prior skill and I want to become a data analyst, I think the first thing is get close to learning the tools. And I would say one of the powerful tools that we overlook a lot in Nigeria is Excel. You can actually start with Excel, try and understand Excel, how to use it, so that you can actually work with the data. Now, I know that you probably don't have a job in that light yet. You need to get your hands dirty and actually learn how to use data. There are a ton of data online. You can go on Kaggle to actually, if you want to get real life data that you can practice with. So first of all, learn Excel as an analytics tool. Again, you don't have to go above and beyond. You have to, if you can't go to university, life is so good now. There's online. We have a lot of information online. So you can decide to learn Excel online or register for an online course that you think will work for you, like with quantum analytics, for example, so online course, learn Excel. I would also say it's important to start with understanding a query language for RDBMS. So SQL is key. If you can get your hands, spend time to learn SQL. Again, also information is available online. YouTube is your friend. Learn the basics, rudiments of Excel, how to query databases before you even move to any advanced application. So it's important to learn an analytics tool, learn a query tool. You can learn Excel, learn SQL, and also you can then gradually work your pace up to things like Power BI, Tableau, and all of that. It also helps a lot to understand statistics. So if you can lay your hands on information on statistics, and I don't mean over and beyond, the basic things, have some interest in that as well, and then practice. I can't say that enough. So if you take your time to practice, learn these simple tools, then create a project. Power BI has a free, there's a free version. I think Tableau also has a free version. There are a lot of applications, Metabase and all of that. Create something. I remember when I was learning, then many years ago, I used to do visualization and do like a reporting to track my expenses. I wanted to know where my money was going. And every day, for like 3 months, I was logging what I spent on an Excel sheet. And I eventually used a pivot table to do something, and I created a chart. And it showed me that my money, a lot of my money was going to, it was miscellaneous. I was dashing people money. I was, being so generous unnecessarily. I had a friend that did analytics around how our baby was feeding, how many bottles, So it could be something that practical. Make sure that it's something that interests you also. Because if you go and say, I want to learn analytics, and then you go and carry one financial data, and then it's boring, you're not interested. Anything that interests you, it could be fashion, it could be anything, Go on Twitter. If it's the way everybody's screaming about obedience and all of that, go on Twitter, try and get the data that speaks to, maybe get some data engineering there, you can get Twitter API and collect information about maybe every mention of Obi, put it on a database, and then connect Excel to it and start looking at what you can do. So I think starting that simple, and getting used to the tools is one of the major ways to start. Then you can by that time have like a project that you can say you have done, to say I've learned, I have an idea. I hope I've not, over explained, but I hope you get what I'm trying to say. I hope everyone gets what I'm trying to say.
Yes. Thank you very much, Adejoju.
You're welcome.
Yeah, so the way you answer that question is very, very, very. You actually, mentioned the tools and how one can get started. I think you really dive deep into answering that question. Thank you very much for that. I'm sure everybody is getting value on this call today. So, guys, jot this information down. It's very, very important. You may want to go back to it to, create your own roadmap, right? And on how you can get started, or how you can improve yourselves. Okay, so Adejoju, there are lots of jobs out there, right? And it's very, very important that we all know how to position ourselves. So would you like to shed some light on how to position oneself? Yeah, for these kind of roles, yes.
Right. Okay. I think I'm going to piggyback on what I just said. It's very important to, I think what I missed out is also, I wanted to talk about the community. It's very important to network. And I don't mean you have to go and physically meet someone. LinkedIn is a fantastic environment, if you look for like minds, people that are in data that you can see their track record, reach out to them, and like pitch yourself. I think that's the most effective way, in my opinion. Also, I think there are data communities. I don't know if anyone knows about Data Science Nigeria. I remember I met the convener of that community when I was trying to get a job somewhere. And because I'd spoken to my mentor that I wanted to do this, and then he connected me with him. So again, I think it's just putting yourself out there. Also, before you put yourself out there, like I said, even if you haven't worked officially or in a company where you haven't worked in that role, if you have practiced and done all of these things, maybe you've done 1 or 2 practical projects that you can show, you can pitch yourself. I think the most effective way to sort of like position yourself is connecting, networking, join data communities online, follow, read up. Medium is a good example to know where latest trends and all of that. Medium is a very good platform to, be on Medium, read up. Things are always changing, so it gives you an idea of what is going on. By the time you've done all of this, you'll be properly positioned, to land your first job after you have practiced for at least 3 to 6 months. Anyways, let me just say that. Yeah.
All right, thank you very much, Adejoju. It's very, very important that everybody on this call actually have the right skills, and the right way to position yourselves. Yeah, I'll totally agree with you on about LinkedIn. I've actually had lots of people that I know who got jobs on LinkedIn from communities to, and even for the communities, as you mentioned earlier, right? Things are always changing. So even when you are in the role, it's still very good that you're in that community, so you can always get access to information, fresh information, and you can even get help, right? So thank you very much for that. So I would like to ask, my second to the last question, right? And this question is CV versus portfolio, which is the most important?
Okay. Again, we're looking at this from the perspective of a new joiner, a newcomer, fresh air to the environment. I think, honestly, to answer that question correctly, I don't think, so they are both important, actually. Yes, CV. So, for example, I've seen a lot of fantastic CV, and by the time we engage the candidates, we really can't see the value, So, I think CV opens the door for you, right? Getting proper, if you do an online course, for example, I know some online courses have career assessment people where they can help you put your CV together. So it's also very important. It's important to, have the good first impression. So I think CV is critical for someone that is coming into that space. However, going ahead and doing things like I said earlier, maybe even take an internship, or like I said, do a project that you're interested in, to practice your analytics to, and have a portfolio of 1 or 2 projects. 1 or 2 is fine to me. In fact, 3 is a lot. 1 or 2 really fantastic that shows your skill. So if it is that you understand how to do a dashboard, you understand color encoding, all of those things, display it in that project. And if they're looking for a data analyst, I feel like that can hand you an entry role. So I would say CV and portfolio sort of like come at different points. So CV opens the door for you to even get a call from the recruiter. And then by the time you have the opportunity and you have the platform that you can sell yourself, you can then show, to further sort of buttress what you have said on your CV, you can then show what you have done. So I wouldn't say one is more important than the other, but they are important at different points in your employment journey. I think that's how I would put it.
All right, all right. Thank you very, very much. So both CV and portfolios are important. CV gives the first impression, and your portfolio shows how good you are. It actually validates your skills, right?
Yeah.
Thank you very much, Adejoju. Okay, my final question, right? And I know this question may sound very funny, but it's very, very important because sometimes it will be like, oh, that kind of question, it depends on this, it depends on that, and we still like to ask you again, right? Like, what's like the salary range for data analysts, right? People on this call want to know, oh, I want to become a data analyst. There's a light at the end of the tunnel, all this kind of things. So we really like to know.
Yeah, so I should have checked again to sort of benchmark what is going on. Honestly, I'm careful. So we have entry level junior data analysts, we have like a mid level, and then we have experts. So again, this is a very difficult question because I don't want to create expectation or also not drop people's expectation. First of all, beyond and over anything I'm going to say, I think it's important to check like career sites like Glassdoor, all of that, for the like the prevalent range. I also think that the career, the what's it called, the remuneration also depends on your area, your region. So if I talk about Nigeria, for example, it might not be what will be applied in the UK or in the US. So it's, like I said, it's a very dicey question. But off the top of my head, for Nigeria, so I'm going to answer based on the space. I would say for a junior data analyst, and I'm going to give an average amount. So it's a band between the lower band and the upper band. I'm going to give the average amount. So for somebody that is just coming into the environment, you can get as much as 500, 400K per month net, just as an entry person. As a middle experienced person, you can get as much as 900. And as an expert, you can get from 1.5 to 2.9 million a month.
All right, thank you very much.
Also,
So guys,
sorry, let me also put that caveat. It also depends on the industry, the area that you are working in. So a data analyst in an health sector might differ slightly in price to a data analyst in the telecommunications or fintech environment. So let's be mindful of that as well.
All right. Thank you very much, Adejoju. I'm sure everybody on this call has a very good understanding of that. It varies and depends on your organization. It depends on, someone is saying data analysts are big boys and girls.
It's a lot of work as well. So yes.
Yeah. So yeah, it depends on the organization, it depends on the location, depends on lots of factors,
The
but
field
definitely the
as well.
field, right? But definitely if you're starting out, you get to a point you start enjoying it, right? You have to put in the sacrifice first, which is very, very important. You have to learn, you have to build yourself, work on projects that will build your skills, right? So these are the kind of things that you should be, thinking about. So don't think about the money yet, right? But we just want you to know that there's money. But we focus on getting the skill first, right? So I believe this will really give you lots of ginger. Allow me to use ginger. I should ginger you all to and get started and pick up that skill right now. This is 2023 already. Time is going. You can't waste this year again. So just start
Yes.
as soon as possible and pick up that skill, right? Thank you very much, Adejoju. It's really, really cool to have you. You gave us, very, very wonderful answers from your wealth of experience, right? And we really appreciate it. So, guys, I want you to take Adejoju. Just type in the chat box. Thank you, Adejoju. You can
Thank
also
you,
connect with
guys.
yeah, you can also
On
connect with
LinkedIn.
Adejoju on LinkedIn. Yeah, that's a full name, Adejoju Ajani, as displayed on the screen. So please feel free to follow her or connect with her. She's available. Thank you very, very, very much. So, guys, I see. Thank you, thank you, thank you. So I see you are actually having, you actually got a lot of value today, and I just want to quickly, touch on our program structure. So our program is structured such that you have hands-on trainings, right? Here in quantum analytics, we are very, very particular about you learning from practicing professionals, people that are data analysts already, head of data analytics, senior data analysts, people that actually know their onions, right? These are the guys you'll be learning from. And definitely you are going to be working on projects with us, which will help you build your portfolio, right? It will help you build your portfolio because it's very, very important. I can tell you for a fact that your portfolio says a lot about you too, right? It's in tech, it's much more than just saying, yeah, I can do this, I can do that. They want to see it. Have you done it before? What have you done before? So we are very, very particular about making you get this skill and preparing you for the outside world, right? We also have how we support our students. So we also have our community, right? Filled with data analysts where you can actually share information, share knowledge, ask questions, tap into opportunities. As Adejoju has rightly said, right? Opportunities, communities can really help you, can help you improve, and it can help you tap into opportunities. Then we also host sessions on LinkedIn optimization, right? If you go to our LinkedIn page, right, you find lots of our students, displaying their projects, sharing it. And I can tell you for a fact, that really helped a lot, right? Because we have sessions where we teach them how to position themselves, optimize their LinkedIn and show their work. Because if you don't show your work, you will not see it. So you need to show yourself and show that you can do it. And I can tell you that we have a lot of testimonies, right? People are getting jobs from just sharing dashboards that they've created. You can get some DMs. Then we also have sessions on CV, and interview preparation. So if you are part of our faculty, right, and you can, you may have an interview and you need to speak to somebody, right, to have like a demo interview session. Yes, we can do that for you too. Then we can also, help you with a recommendation letter when you need it. Yes, but we have situations when our students, do a letter of recommendation, or you apply for a job and the organization reaches out to us. Yes, we give letter of recommendation. Yeah, we are very, very particular about supporting you. We want you to succeed because we want to brag about it, right? So, then we also have sessions on access to remote jobs. Yes, I'm sure that everybody on this call wants to do a remote or an hybrid type of job at one point of your life, right? So it will really be cool to, you know, have, have this kind of exposure, right? I see somebody is raising his hand. Is that Samuel? Samuel, please go ahead.
Good afternoon.
Hi, good afternoon.
Thank you, Mr. Joseph. Thank you, Adejoju. Thank you for the insight and everything you have shared with us. It's good to be on this call. Please, I will like to ask one or two questions, or let me say, probably a sort of way by which you can just put me through some things if I'm allowed to. My main question is that I'm having is there a sort of age restriction on this entry level as a data analyst? The major thing is that I've been working as a classroom teacher for like 5 years. Then about a year ago, I started developing interest in data analysis. I've been taking classes on data analytics. I have knowledge on SQL. I did some Python course. I know how to use Power BI. I use Excel very well. In fact, I went as far as using Excel, for my students to know their scores. So I use Excel to do that. So I've been using Excel for a lot of data.
I'm not saying any bye-bye.
Hello.
Yes, please go ahead. We can hear you.
Yeah.
Okay. So, but I observed that I've been applying.
Samuel, okay. Is that okay? I think we just muted Samuel now. Please, Collins, you can go on, please. Mic check, Collins. Can you hear me?
Can you hear me, please?
Okay, yeah. Samuel, Samuel can hear you. Oh, you were the one talking. Yeah, sorry.
So,
can hear you.
Yes. So I've been applying to job roles, and I've not been getting any invite for interview. I have one or two projects I did and I displayed on my LinkedIn and Twitter account. But I've been thinking maybe because of my age, because by this October I'll be clocking 32. So I'm like, could it be because of the age? Because based on what Mr. Adejoju have said so far, I think I'm qualified for at least an entry level, but I've not been getting any invite. So I'm like, is the age a sort of restriction, or probably I'm feeling like maybe I'm getting too old or what?
Adejoju, would you like to answer that?
Yes. Yeah.
All right.
Okay. Hi, Samuel. Thank you for actually speaking up about that. First of all, I need you to know that there's no age. Do you put your age on your CV? Is there anywhere where you have written your age on your CV, if I may ask? If you have, I think you should take that out, since you are already concerned about it. But in a fair environment, which I think most recruiters are these days, there's no age restriction to anything in life. They always say that whenever you decide to do something, that is your morning. I can decide to become a neurosurgeon at 70. Go ahead, Samuel. Let's say something. Hello? Okay, all right. I would just say that based on everything that you've said, it seems your approach is right. What you might want to do, however, is to have your CV checked. So have you engaged a professional to help you look at your CV? You know how I said that CV is the entry point. And if it feels like the door is shut and you have tried, you have a project, it might be how you are actually presenting it. So they want data analysts. Presenting information is one of the key skills that they are looking for. So you might want to check that. So first of all, have your CV done professionally. If you need to pay for that, it's something worthy of investing in. Have your CV looked into and done professionally. By the time that you have your CV assessed by professionals, they will also point out if there's something you are putting out there, or if you are selling yourself in the wrong way, then they can correct that. After you've done that, I think you should have a go again. Of course, again, I need you to get that mindset of age out of the question. Be confident in your abilities and hope for the best. If all of that does not work, apply for an internship role. Joseph said now that they help, so you can either upskill yourself or reskill. This is a situation of reskilling, so it's okay. You also have some work experience, you've worked student and all of that. You can leverage that as well. Apply for an internship in a company, you will find an internship, or do volunteer work. Do volunteer work that affects real life situation and put it as part of your portfolio, then apply again after that. There's no way you do all of these things and you not get a role, I can assure you. So have your CV checked, try internship, and be confident in your abilities. That's what I would say. Thank you. Samuel,
Okay, hi. Okay,
I don't know if
yeah,
that's...
thank you very much, Adejoju. Samuel, I'm sure you got the the gist already, and you need to just go check your CV and check your portfolio, strategize. Maybe you need to like put in the best projects, some of your best projects, check your your CV too, and maybe you need to optimize your LinkedIn. You need to probably
Yeah.
reskill. Thank you very much, Adejoju. Thank you, thank you. I see Colin's hands are raised. I'm even surprised because I was expecting lots of questions coming in the chat box while we were taking those questions, but it's all good. Collins, please, you can go on, please.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Joseph. Okay,
Yeah.
my question is, the first question is, how do I join the community, data analyst community? I'm very much active on LinkedIn. And the second question is,
what's the second question?
So the second question is, apart from the community, I would say at this point, I'm very familiar with Excel. I'm very familiar with Tableau, Power BI. So, but I'm still yet to learn Python. So at this stage, what do you advise? The confidence is already there, but I don't have the Python skills, which I'm about to learn. So I don't know. So what do you advise on that?
Okay, thanks, Collins. Do you currently work in a data analyst role right now or not?
It's not, I won't say an analyst, no, I would say it's just an IT role, because I'm coming from a web design background. So it's basically an IT role, but I intend to switch if I see any other bigger opportunity. But currently I'm in the UK at the moment. So it's not easy to just get data analyst like that. So I started with an IT role after my MSc. So, but I intend to switch to data analyst.
Okay, so thanks for that. So first of all, let me answer the community one. It's not far in between to join or look for data. So like I said, Medium is an example. There's Data Science Nigeria. There's DASCA as well. There are a couple of them online. It's nothing special than to go on there and register. That's all. I'm not aware of any community where you have to pay actually. But I've told you the few ones that I'm quite close to. It's not far in between, more than that. And then be on there, read, comment, interact with people, learn new trends. You can even start from Medium. So that's for the community side. For the switching to data analytics role. So you have an IT background, which is also not bad. Everything that we have touched on. If you say you can use Excel, you can use SQL, my question to you is to what extent? There's something recruiters are looking for. And if I know the UK well, they will look at your CV and then also call you in for an assessment. If you say you can do Excel, for example, you do an Excel test, so again, in the UK, it could be many reasons. It could be that your name, there's institutional racism in some cases where they probably will not even streamline your CV because your name is Adejoju Ajani. So again, what is your expertise level for Excel? For everything you say, Excel, Tableau, and all of that. You have to be able, so if you say I'm intermediary or I'm beginner, your CV must reflect that you have done things at that level of expertise, i.e. in case of your project and portfolio. So again, for the UK, two things. You might want to, again, get your CV checked, get a professional so that you put the keywords. So if I know the UK well, when they want to streamline for recruitment, they use applications to actually sort of streamline CVs in the first place. So some keywords have to be in your CV. If you say you're an intermediate data analyst, so there's some keywords that should exist in your CV. So you have to find a way to coin the things that you have done and make sure that those keywords are represented, whether it's data mining or, there's some words that you can easily just put and explain what you have done, and it's important to also show it in such a way that I was able to do, not, just writing, so I think have your CV checked as well. Also, for either whether you should learn Python or not. Of course, Python, knowing Python as a data analyst, you can use Python to also do data analytics anyways, and it's an added advantage. However, I always say start small, be a master of something. So if you say you're intermediate with Excel and SQL, have you been assessed? Do you have like something to show to say that this knowledge has been validated, before you start piling on Python? So if you get a job as a data analyst and you got it just knowing Excel and SQL and you start working there, you can then start learning Python and then put it as an added skill, and then you can look for another, role and keep moving gradually like that. But I'm always very skeptical. Don't try to learn so many things, at the same time, and then not be a master of anything, and you hope that you get an entry role. So I think focus more on where you think, you are now in terms of entry, intermediate, and skill. Perfect it more, display it in your CV, get professionals to help you check how you're displaying things. Make sure you put the keywords. It's important that you put those keywords on your CV so that they won't call you for an interview. And when you finally get a chance to do an interview, make sure that you are ready to, do a test. They probably will say you do a presentation. They'll give you an Excel question and all of that. They'll give you a time-bound Excel real-life scenario question to do. So I know that's how the UK works. So you might want to do all of these things to ensure that you're able to actually pivot into a data analyst role.
Thank you, Adejoju, for that. I believe you got that, Collins. I so just apply everything that you've just heard now. I believe you definitely get something very good, provided you apply these recommendations. All right, so Adejoju, I can see Philip's hands up, but before I take that, I have a question. I have a message for you in the chat box. And Luafem is saying, thank you, Adejoju. I learned a lot from your experience sharing. Question: in your years of experience, what will you recommend, R or Python?
Okay, both actually. And I'll say this, but Python first. Learn Python first. R is very good for animated visuals. If you remember CNN News, when CNN wants to show that there's rain, there's something here, that's an R animation that they actually use. I think you should learn Python first. So R is very powerful, but is more suited for doing animation kind of visuals. It's an added advantage, but I feel like Python has amazing libraries. It's easier to understand, easier to get with, and is very optimized for data things. So I think you should start with Python and then you can layer on R. Hello. I hope
we
that
can hear you now. I think you muted before. Okay, so are you done, Adejoju? Are you done with?
Yeah, I'm done.
The answering.
Yeah.
All right.
Yes. So start with Python, then learn R later.
All right. Thank you. So Philip, you can unmute yourself now and ask your question.
Thank you very much, Joseph and Adejoju. I personally appreciate this wonderful webinar. Thank you so much. So I just wanted to ask for, let's say, an average duration to go from learning Excel to for me personally, I prefer Tableau because from the other information I got before this webinar is that Tableau is more universally used amongst data analysts. So I wanted to know what is the average duration to go from Excel to Tableau from your experience?
Yeah, okay, thank you for that. So I think, first of all, when you say average duration, we all learn differently. My learning ability is different from your learning ability, and you know how you learn, For example, I like to read. I'm also a visual learner. So I'll read something. I also look for a YouTube thing that maybe while I'm doing something else, I'm listening. It's dropping in my mind. I'll still go and read theoretical aspects. Or I'm learning Kafka, for example. I've watched a YouTube video on Kafka. I've taken a Kafka training, and then I'm setting up a Kafka cluster. That's how it works for me. So I think, first of all, try and understand how you learn, and that will determine how you pace yourself. So I think the average for me to learn any new thing, the average time I would say is between 3 to 6 months. So Excel has a lot of functions, different ways to do different things. We're scratching the surface in most of the time. So try and explore that. Maybe it's 2 hours in a day, or 3 hours, or 12 hours in a week, however you want to learn. Create like a clean, lean roadmap that you will follow, not something that is unimaginable, that you cannot, an unachievable goal. So understand how you learn and set up your learning path around how you learn so that your learning is optimized. But on the average, I'll say between 3 to 6 months is a fair time for anyone to learn a new thing and be at least a beginner in it. That's what I'll say.
All right. Thank you very much, Adejoju. So finally, I have the final question from the chat box. Can you hear me? I really need to know if you can. Okay.
I can hear you, yeah.
All right. So Edijong is saying, would you say getting certificates is a must in getting entry roles? If yes, what kind of certificates?
Okay, I have an unpopular opinion about certifications. I hope I don't rock your boat, but honestly, my first answer is no. You don't have to do any certification to get a role. However, certifications are ways of validating your skill, to be honest. However, it is important that you actually know and learn the skill, and then just use certification as an icing on the cake to say, validate my skill. Now, a caveat to that, maybe I'm saying this because I'm experienced and I'm not at an entry level point. However, as an entry level person, certification can also sort of like guarantee your entrance. So if you are just coming into the field, I would say yes, if you can. Get certification along your learning, but I don't want you to be fixated on just getting certification, because I know that some certifications are such that you can just learn and cram some things and then you write the exams and you pass. But working with data involves actually working with data, doing the work, like getting your hands dirty, not they've told us to do something, you follow the instruction, you cram it and you pass the certification. When you get to the interview and they ask you real scenario questions, or they give you scenario questions to deal with, you will be found wanting. So I would say, as an end, if you are coming new, if you can, if you have the money and you have the time, yes, certification is fine, but you don't have to. If you can go through everything we've said, learn, create a portfolio, get your CV right without any certification. Certification is an icing on the cake, to be honest, if you are just coming in. However, if you are experienced, again, is at your will, is validation for your knowledge, to be honest. There might be some places that, by the time you list all your certifications, it gives you more ground to say, oh, you're an authority in this space. So and I'm saying this is for IT stuff. There are some fields in life that certification is a key. Maybe medical field, you have to do some certifications anyway. So that's how I see certifications. So it's neither here or there for me. But if you're entering, it's an icing on the cake, but it's not a must. That's my final answer.
All right. Thank you very much, Adejoju, for that. Unpopular opinion. Okay, so okay, so I see Francis is asking a question, and I'm sure we've actually. I'll just quickly just revert back to how you answered Samuel. Francis said, at 40 years, what are the opportunities for data analyst roles? I can tell you for a fact that age is not a barrier. It is not a barrier. So the thing about tech is nobody's checking your age, right? You're not doing any ad labor, any physical ad labor. It's a mental thing, right? As far as you can give results and
That's
you can work, yes, if you can give results, that's the most important thing in tech, right? For a data analyst, you can use those tools, you can solve real life problems, right? You can apply it to real life problems, then you are good to go. You don't have a problem at all. You can tap into opportunities as much as you can. All right. So I would just want to, really thank you again, Adejoju. Even though we've thanked you before and we now brought you back again. And
okay.
Okay.
Fine.
All right. Yeah. So guys, I really want to tell you that we have a course. We have different programs in our data faculty, right? But we have a data analyst track that you can start for free. The first two classes are free. And then you can join the onboarding group. I'm going to be dropping the link to the onboarding group now in the chat box, so you can join the onboarding group. The class starts on the 25th of March. On the 25th of March, and you can just click on the link I just dropped in the chat box now to join the onboarding group. To join the onboarding group, you can from there you can now start your journey, right? The first two classes are free, guys. And if you are looking at wanting to, or you want to have a conversation with Joseph, right? Yes, you can. Yeah, you can actually see our numbers here, our emails there. You can actually reach out to us. You can actually, that the first number on the screen is my number ending with 2511. You can reach out to me, have a conversation with me. You want to ask about the different data programs that we have in our faculty. Yes, I will give you answers and I will help you get started, right? So please feel free to come into my WhatsApp, right, with that number on your screen, or any of the numbers. So you can shoot us an email. You can check our website too. You can connect with me on LinkedIn too. So it's very, very cool to have you all on this call today. Please don't forget to join that onboarding group. If you are really looking at starting your journey, we have one starting this month, 25th of March. I want to see you in class very, very soon. Please don't procrastinate again. Don't procrastinate again. Tap into the opportunity as soon as you can. In a few months from now, you should be somewhere. You should be progressing well in the data analyst field. Thank you very much, Adejoju. Thank
You're
you,
welcome.
everybody. Yeah, thank you, everybody joining from different location. It's really cool to have you here. Definitely you get the recording of this session in your emails within the week. So don't worry, you may want to share with friends, you may want to share with loved ones, so they can also enjoy what you enjoyed this evening. So have a wonderful time, guys, and have a wonderful evening or morning. I don't know what time it is there. And have a wonderful weekend. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Adejoju, if you can drop your LinkedIn, please, so we can follow you on LinkedIn.
Oh, okay. Just my name, Adejoju Ajani, I believe. That's my LinkedIn. I'll just drop my name in the chats. Let me just double check them. Yeah, so it's just my name.